Ah, yes, winter. A time of merrymaking. A time for giving gifts and praising the fat man who comes down your chimney to take your offering of baked goods and cow juice in exchange for a Wii U. And to spend the holiday season with the ones you hold nearest and dearest to your heart. And for me, that special someone has gotta be Shaggy Rogers. Look, I know it's winter, but I just want to watch me some good old-fashioned Scooby-Doober. I mean, just look at these guys. Look. How can he not like it? And I don't mean any old Scooby-Doo. I mean the good stuff. I'm talking about Red Shirt Shaggy. And for those of you who don't know about these terrible, terrible films, allow me to take you back to the magical year of 1976. The man you see here floating before you is the president of ABC, Fred Silverman. His idea was to bring new episodes of Scooby-Doo to the early morning ABC lineup, under a fresh new name, The Scooby-Doo Show, which led to the creation of even more spin-offs, and as such, more lore to the Scooby-Doo-niverse. These cartoons even led to the creation of Scooby relatives, who are, oh boy, here we go. Yabba-Doo, Scooby-Dum, Scooby-Dee, Dooby-Doo, Momsy-Doo, Dada-Doo, Whoopsie-Doo, Ruby-Doo, Skippy-Doo, Howdy-Doo, Horton-Doo, Dixie-Doo, Granddad Scooby, Great-Grandpa Scooby, Yankee Doodle-Doo, and Spooky-Doo. That's a lot of doos. Oh, and Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Dum fight over their cousins' affections. So there's that. Anyways, back to the task at hand. All of this comes to fruition in the form of 3 movies that I like to call the Red Shirt Trilogy. I'll be covering these 3 films thoroughly, splitting them into 3 videos. And the first movie I have to cover is, unfortunately, the longest Scooby-Doo film, with 93 minutes on the clock. So, without further ado, I present to you Scooby-Doo Meets the Booze Brothers. The Boo Brothers. Roll the fucking film!
Ow!
So you think Santa will like these red and green M&Ms?
I don't know. I never met the guy. He does exist!
They do exist. Santa?
Paul, what in the hell was that? What do you mean by that? I don't know, Paul. You tell me. The one who signed a sponsorship with M&M's. What do you mean we're not getting paid for? Alright, so now that Paul and I have worked out our shares of the M&Ms we received, we can start watching. So to start things off, we had a random last will and testament fly-in from Shaggy's uncle that gives him something. The rest of it's written in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Then some witch starts singing about how she'll scare Shag and Scoobs for no reason at all, actually. The witch is just kinda there. Shaggy and Scooby then decide to flee the country because they don't want to mess with that magic mumbo-jumbo. And Scooby, being the great uncle he is, forgot about Scrappy before they left. And then we get a skeleton dancing scene. After the witch is done singing about the Boo Brothers, we are greeted by the 3 comedic relief characters headed to the southern plantation that Shaggy inherited. I wonder what kind of crops they grew. And of course, Shaggy, being the smart man he is, makes the dog read the map, and they make a wrong turn onto a closed road. And then out pops Surprise Gorilla, which causes Shaggy to get stuck in the mud. Again, Shaggy, being a smart man, tells Scooby to get out of the car and start pushing. I guess making lesser individuals that you own do manual labor runs in the family. The gorilla shows back up and scares Scooby, giving him the power to push the car out of the mud, again leaving his nephew alone to die. Scooby-Doo hurls Scrappy into the vehicle and starts to drive the fucking car. I guess Scooby knows how to operate a stick but can't read a map. And then out of nowhere, Danny DeVito shows up with the most ridiculous southern accent ever.
What's the trouble, officer?
Trouble? Oh, no trouble. Just a matter of proceeding down the highway in a wanton-lit, reckless, and irresponsible manner. Let me see your license, boy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, from out of state, huh? What y'all doing down here, boy?
The sheriff tells them the directions to the plantation, but warns them that the darn plantation is haunted and tells Shaggy,
Best turn right around and skedaddle back in. Now, y'all mind what I said. You best go on back where you come from.
Now, back to the side plot with the gorilla, who was listening in on the conversation. The dispatcher has said that a circus animal train is derailed from the tracks, which explains the random gorilla. Back to the three main characters, it turns out that the path Sheriff DeVito told them about cuts through a graveyard, and what I assume is the ghost of General Stonewall Jackson is introduced. Oh, and the Headless Horseman. Oh, and spooky Yellow Eyes Wolf, who could forget? After some dialogue from the ghouls with the stupidest voices imaginable,
Go! Go! Go back! Leave this place!
before Shaggy can gun it out of there, the engine of the car floods. So the trio decides to make a run for it into the Beauregard mansion. There they meet the manservant of the mansion, Farquaad, who tells them, hey, I'm the rightful owner of this mansion and shit, but the old man said you could have it, plus he gave you those sick family jewels. Which makes him a prime candidate for all the spooky stuff happening, but I bet he's just a red herring to the real villain. After about 3 minutes of talking smack, Scrappy squares up, and then Shaggy's all like, nah, it ain't worth it. But then, surprise gorilla enters the household, and the sheriff shows up too for more meaningless exposition. Farquaad then tells him that the gorilla is actually a ghost that's been haunting the grounds ever since Shaggy's uncle brought him home as a beanie baby. Shaggy's convinced, but Scooby still has the gorilla chasing after him, making for moments where Shaggy just tells Scooby, "It's just a stuffed animal, you dumb piece of shit!" In this moment, Farquaad drops a ring that Scrappy steals like the thief he is. The ring is inscribed, "To my nephew Shaggy," confirming that there are family jewels on the premise, but again, Shaggy being the coward he is, tries to leave. But is stopped because his car started sinking in the mud? Man, I just hate when I park my car on the grass and it starts raining and my whole car just starts to sink into the earth. I mean, it only rained for like maybe an hour. Why would it just start sinking like that? So afterwards, Farquaad tells the three of them that no one can pull the car out till morning, so they'll have to stay the night at the Beauregard mansion. So, let's take a minute to recap. Haunted Mansion, Ghost Gorilla, Dead Uncle, Sheriff Danny DeVito, and Knockoff Uncle Fester. Okay, everyone got it? Good, because we still have 77 minutes left of this godforsaken film.
For those with a talent for brightening up the holidays, McDonald's has something special just for you. For a short time, we're serving holiday chicken McNuggets with a festive orange sauce. There are also thick, rich eggnog milkshakes and cool peppermint sundaes. They're just our way of lighting up the season.
Your holiday place, McDonald's.
Paul, did you really sign a deal with McDonald's too? How old is this commercial? They don't even make these items anymore. This is false advertising, Paul. What the fuck do you mean it's aesthetic? After some more silly spooks, General Stonewall shows back up on a penny farthington telling the trio to leave. I shit you not, a penny farthington. Scrappy decides that they need to get rid of the ghost, so instead of calling the actual Ghostbusters, they decide to call the knockoff Three Stooges, who travel via telephone wire, as cartoon ghosts do. By the way, I'd like to point out that the Boo Brothers, Shriko, Frico, and Miko, are basically just the ghosts from Casper, but with hats. Shaggy is skeptical about the Boo Brothers, but they're trying to prove themselves by using a demonstration ghost, and this happens. And this, dear God, this is more fucked up than Junji Ito. After this, the brothers decide to make way after the toy ghost and destroy a chandelier, and a part of the floor, which I think may have killed Farquaad and Shaggy. And Gorilla Boy shows back up. And now we got a next door neighbor character named Sadie coming over to make the movie more boring. No. She comes over to borrow fucking molasses. Who comes over in the dead of night to a presumably haunted mansion, greeted with the sounds of a gorilla and blood-curdling screams, and is welcomed at the door by a talking puppy, and she's just thinking, man, I really need me some molasses. After a 2-minute dancing scene with Sadie performing a WWE move on Shaggy,
Whoops! I guess I got a little too rambunctious.
Stonewall Jackson shows back up to remind us that this movie actually has a plot that might matter, but only for a brief moment. Then Shaggy almost dies again from another Southern stereotype, Sadie's brother Billy Bob. Jesus fucking Christ, is there anything more Southern than Billy Bob? Come on, Hanna-Barbera. These two are a part of the Scroggin clan, who have been feuding with the Beauregards for 145 years. So the only logical conclusion upon meeting Shaggy is to shoot the damn hippie! But much to brother Billy Bob Scroggin's dismay, Sadie wants to marry Shaggy. So she uses her superwoman strength to strangle Billy Bob to death with his own gun. And now we have a Romeo and Juliet side plot from the South to add to the collection of other meaningless side plots. Man, maybe I should fuck my cousins. I could get superpowers or something. Man, look at her go. Jesus Christ. After Shaggy retreats inside, he calls the police station right away like a little snitch. And while they wait until morning, they start searching for clues to the whereabouts of the hidden family jewels. Of course, Shaggy being Shaggy checks the fridge for clues as an excuse, but they actually do find a diamond and a letter from his uncle that states he knew Shaggy would have an appetite, and he kept the letter in the fridge, and the diamond, to hide from his enemies. But really, doesn't everybody eat? You're telling me that you would put an expensive-ass jewel inside a refrigerator to hide from your worst enemies? That's like me saying, oh, I'll just keep all my money inside a pillowcase, because no one uses those, right? The letter also has a riddle to the location of the next clue. Go outside and look for the part of the house with its knee out. Oh, and we have a surprise listener with a cowboy hat silhouette. I wonder who that could be. After they go outside, in classic Scooby-Doo fashion, the trio decides to split up to look for the clue. And also we get some more Gorilla, who really has the hots for Scooby-Doo for some reason. And Shaggy getting the same treatment with Sadie.
Like I must be nuts, looking for knees on a house.
How about lips on a girl, honey?
Hey! Like yuck!
Was that a Beauregard I seen a sparking with you?
Sure was, Ain't he cute?
I show him cute.
Oh, you stop that, Billy Bob!
After another chase scene is over, Scrappy figures out that the clue was referring to the chimney, so they climb onto the roof to get to the next clue. Also, more of this.
Okay, gang. Like, be careful on this slanty old roof. Careful, Scoob!
After they retrieve the reward, they get spooked by Mr. Bones and fall off the roof to their near death. Luckily, the Ghost Gang shows up just in time to save them all, and the best character shows back up, the Sheriff. And we get some much needed fan service. Also, I guess that after trying to attempt murder and shooting at a police light, Billy Bob only gets threatened with 2 whole tickets. I guess the South is just pretty chill if you're an incest baby. Now searching for the third clue, we get another chase scene. Oh, holy shit! The monkey has a gun! Code Silverback, the monkey has a gun! After the gorilla is done with his murderous rampage, the trio finds a secret passageway into the mansion and the 4th clue, and oh wait, no, they found the next clue immediately. Scrappy was about to get the next one quickly too, but he was mugged during his explanation, cutting him off short and changing the focus. And unfortunately, Tweedledoo and Tweedledick are too stupid to figure out riddles on their own, so we have to wait for this boring exchange between Igor and the crew before we can advance the narrative. After the plot advancer, aka Scrappy-Doo, is done explaining, they head up to the attic. And that's where Scrappy finds the next clue and some sweet bling, but watch out, it's time for Bones McGee. After he collects his debt that those deadbeats owed him, he pieces out of there via escape hatch. But they don't really care and get out of the dark attic to check what the next clue says. As this is all happening, the gang hears some banging from downstairs coming from Farquaad, who is fixing the door by banging it with a mallet. Weird, but okay, nothing suspicious. But then he drops a necklace, the same necklace that was taken from the gang mere moments ago by Bones McGee, making him a prime suspect. Scrappy steals it back without being noticed and the gang takes a little break to check the clue. But not before Stonewall Jackson shows back up to steal the necklace. And we have yet another chase scene which lasts 3 minutes, which leads the gang into the cellar, the next clue location. Boy, these chase scenes sure are convenient. Now let's take a quick break because I am pleased to announce that we just made it to the 50-minute mark in the movie. Everyone give yourself a high five, you deserve it. Alright, now it's time for the recap. Southern stereotypes, 3 dead boys, an Easter egg hunt, skeleton stuff, and a Romeo and Juliet feud from the South. You still with me? Good, because we still got 40 minutes of this bitch left. Okay, let's go. Now, Scoob, Scrapboy, and Smaggy are in the cellar looking for more clues when they come across the clue and also a stupid fucking cannon, which just serves as a comedic excuse for the Boo Brothers to do some wacky stuff, XD. Let's address how these Boo Brothers can destroy a whole wall and then moments later they can just phase through another wall. When not but a mere 30 minutes ago, it was established that Shriko cannot lift up Shaggy. Also, I love how someone fires the cannon to try and kill our protagonist and Scrappy Ducks, even though he's like 1 foot tall. So that's some of the logic in this bitch. Then we follow the group outside and, oh no, Billy Bob, the scariest antagonist in all of Scooby-Doo history. No, for real though, he can actually cut down a thick tree with a single bullet. So if he were to shoot one of the group members, he would tear them in half, like, I mean blood and gore and brains everywhere. God bless you, John Lennon. So then Sheriff DeVito falls on his ass and gets crushed by the huge tree that Billy Boy shot earlier. And you think he would be dead, but nah, he'll just walk it off. Scrappy then tricks good old Billy into a bear cave because Scrappy wishes death upon all of his enemies and shows no remorse. Kinda like Mark David Chapman. Soon they get away and they find the headstone for General Bastard, which contains the next very important clue, and oh, his hat starts moving on its own, but that's fine, it's just the wind according to Scrappy, who I thought was the know-it-all character. But apparently at this point in the film, Shaggy becomes that character for some fucking reason. So yeah, now Shaggy's the one who figures out all the clues now, and Scrappy is the lovable sidekick. Scrappers, being the degenerate street urchin that he is, steals the clue and treasure back from General Cream Puff before he can behead him. Like, what's up with all the violence in this movie? I thought this was Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers, not Django Unchained. Later when Scrappy finally finds his gang, which abandons him for dead like 80% of the time, they fall down a trapdoor and find themselves in the basement, and we get some more gorilla time. But be warned everyone, this scene is highly inappropriate for younger audiences. I recommend averting your eyes. Alright, for the rest of you who are still here, here's the scene.
If I can make out what's on this scroll. Oh, like it's so dark in here. Cut it out, Scoob. I'm trying to make out what this says. Like I told you, don't mess around, Scoob. I'm reading.
Look at that. Scooby-Doo is giving Shaggy those fuck me eyes. Oh lord, what were those sickos at Hanna-Barbera thinking? The gang runs away from the gorilla and we get some more sheriff, who's looking for the gorilla. But he's gotta be a pretty shitty sheriff. I mean, how can you not feel a 350-pound mammal on the roof of your car? The gorilla scares him so bad that he's scared out of his clothes, literally with the whole 5 frames of animation. Good job, Scooby-Doo team. Later, we see the gang heading towards the house to look at the next clue, and it wouldn't be a good forced full-length feature film if we didn't get meaningless exposition and a scene that goes on for way too long. Let me just speed this up. Yep, there we go. Now we have the gang headed toward the stable to find that the Headless Horseman from earlier was just mechanical, and we get some more Sadie. Yay, the best love interest.
Scoob, what are you doing? Help! A monster's got me!
Oh, you silly boy. I'm not a monster.
Says you!
Jimmy.
Ah! And then she causes Shaggy to get into a wreck with the sheriff. Nah, just kidding. The mud breaks his fall, and remember, Sadie has superpowers, so she's fine too. And then we have this happen. This man right here harnesses the power of 1,000 suns into this one door slam. To be honest, this is the most entertaining part of the movie so far. Scooby then tries to run over the sheriff with the mechanical horse on accident, and he says to push the button to turn the horse off. So I'm calling it now, he's the big villain of the movie. He's the mastermind behind it all. It's him. It's the sheriff. A few more repetitive scenes later, and the crew finds the well with the next clue in it, and Billy Bob finds them. Now, allow me to show you this. Billy Bob fires 3 shots. One shot hits the piece of wood holding the well up, and doesn't even put a dent in it. The same gun that did this earlier. Can't break this support beam just because the location and plot call for the protection of the protagonists. That's some bullshit. And then it gets even worse. After going down the well, our trio finds an old Civil War supply cave with more clues in it, and a secret tunnel back to the mansion. Along the way back home though, General Sam shows up and springs the booby traps on them, which include a wall of spikes, a chasm that they have to jump over, and falling rocks, and are meted with a dead end. Now this is where it gets fucking stupid. The General shows up on a steamroller at the end of the tunnel to try and kill the 3, but the wall shifts and saves them all. Even though that steamroller probably should have been able to go through that wall. And also, can we mention, somehow he got around all the traps he triggered, and got in his steamroller just in time to try and flatten them. Or, the animators of this movie just didn't fucking care at all, and my money is on choice B. The gang makes it back up to the foyer to be greeted by the Boo Brothers throwing a ghost party with all their ghost relatives. My personal favorite has to be the color-changing hat ghost. Oh, he'll make you look twice, so that jokester. And now for the second best scene in this movie.
Trying to find himself, you know? They're just folks, but lots of fun. Hey, you want some of this party food? Like what is it? Scream dipping bone chips. Yummy. Like this is just too much. Hey, pal, come on, get in the spirit. You get it, ghosts, spirit? Boy, what a riot. Yeah, it's a riot.
Shaggy gets so pissed about the party, he shatters a vinyl record into pieces. Then he tells everyone to get out, including the Boo Brothers, since they haven't completed their duty of catching the ghost yet. And this is where my brain went into autopilot mode. The Boo Brothers tell the trio that they're orphan ghosts with no home and are just trying to make enough to get their own place. But that doesn't make any fucking sense. So did their parents die when they were alive and then they died? Or did their parents actually, like, make it to the afterlife and they're stuck in purgatory? Also, didn't they just have a whole house party with family? Why couldn't they stay at one of those places to haunt? And why does the gang believe this stupid fucking story and rehire the Boo Brothers? They don't even play an important role in this movie, they just exist to appeal to children with applesauce for brains. Later we blah 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 some meaningless side plot shit, this. And now we're to the next clue location, a bear cave. His uncle hid his treasure in a bear cave, smart man. And then we have this happen.
Scoob! Like just a little higher, Scoob! Got it! Whoa! Yeah! Phew! Talk about a close one. Yeah!
Shaggy just defies all laws of gravity so this movie can continue. Why couldn't he just fall down and die? I just want this to be over. Oh, but it's not over yet. The car shows back up with no driver for some reason, trying to kill them. And so does the bear. So maybe this movie ends here? Man, you guys couldn't have just sat still, could you? So it turns out the ghost attached a remote control gizmo to the car and was driving it via this device, with 4 whole buttons. It's a fully sized car. Explain to me how this would work. And then Shaggy takes the car back to the mansion and breaks the last straw by doing this.
Come on, come on! I'm trying!
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
No, that's not how it works. What the hell, Hanna-Barbera? What are you doing? Oh boy, now that the gang is back in the house, the gorilla decides to show up to make everyone's life harder by stealing the clue. Good thing that Scrappy is a gorilla whisperer, and he works out a deal with the gorilla where he gets to use the mechanical horse in exchange for the clue. The gang heads over to the pier for the last clue, but the skeleton ghost is waiting there for them. He sounds a lot like Farquaad because of the sheriff's cold he got from falling into the pond earlier, which is pretty much the only clever part of the movie, much unlike this part of the movie. The final stash of treasure is found inside the fireplace in the form of a slot machine. You think an old Civil War era general thought to himself during the building of this plantation, "Well, I think the place I'll hide my big stash of treasure is gonna be a fireplace. But you know what? Make it look like a slot machine too." And then the ending gets rushed with the big reveal that the person imitating all the ghosts was the sheriff. Except for the scary-eyed wolf one. That ghost was real. Or should I say the sheriff's twin brother. That's right, the real sheriff shows up to arrest his brother, and the only major difference with the two designs is that one of them has a mustache. Very good, Hanna-Barbera. Wow, really like what you're doing with this movie. And with that, the movie ends with Shaggy giving the mansion to the Boo Brothers and giving all the dough they made to a trust fund for orphans. If it were me, I would have invested in Bitcoin. Shaggy, man, look at the... Oh, yikes! Ooh, never mind, Shaggy. You did the right thing. Well, after all has been said and done, I have to say, wow, that movie was shit. They had like 8 side plots and 3 of them were tied up, but it had some pretty good moments to laugh at with your friends while watching the film. As for rewatchability, you could probably watch this movie muted and absorb the same amount of information you did the first time. It's really just dull and bland and not worth it in the long run, even for those little gems that happen every now and then. If you're considering watching this movie, don't. Just like, donate it or something. I give this movie an official Scooby-Doo rating of 4 out of 10. Hi there. I'd just like to say how much I appreciate you guys for watching the video. If you guys like what you saw, just make sure to subscribe to support the channel, and you can look out for more content that's coming very soon. I'm planning on releasing the next videos in the next 2 or 3 months or so, so just click that little red button right there. You can watch it. You can keep a lookout for it, and it will come very soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.